Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be talking about 3 tips for No Fap. So obviously we're now in November and a lot of people now are attempting to do the No Nut November challenge, potentially for the first time or second or third time. So I really just want to give some advice or some useful tips for how to complete No Fap in November for this No Nut November challenge, or just in general as well. So if you want to do 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, just want to give some advice, and here are 3 tips on how to do this. So the first tip I would recommend viewers to do is to just keep yourself busy. So No Fap can be very dangerous when you're completely isolated, or it can be very difficult to do if you haven't got much to do, you're not busy, you're kind of idling away, maybe in your bedroom, you're kind of scrolling, and next minute you know, you kind of fail on No Fap essentially. So it's really important to keep yourself busy. So if you're working and you have the opportunity to go to the office, I would always recommend to go to the office, kind of keep yourself busy all the time, whether it be through work, going through the gym, exercise, taking up sports or hobbies, just keeping yourself busy through work or different activities that you do. So my strategy in the past was to tend to exhaust myself throughout the whole day. So I would essentially wake up, if I would wake up, then I would maybe do a small run straight away. I would wake up immediately and get up immediately without scrolling from my phone or anything. I'd get up immediately and essentially go for a run, go for a walk, do some pull-ups or chin-ups outside, and come back, have a breakfast, and then go to work immediately. So I would essentially cycle through work and essentially just work from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, complete my job, and then maybe I'll do some activities in the evening. So it might be some social activities, other hobbies I would do, and essentially I would wake up from about 7 a.m. to and I would be out and about, keeping myself busy, gym, office, work, until about 11 p.m. in the evening. So that was my strategy, just to keeping myself busy, keeping myself really busy, making sure I expend all my energy during the day, so that I'm by the end, towards the evening, I'm so exhausted, so tired, that I would essentially just collapse in bed, and essentially I would complete one day of No Fap that way. So that's kind of one thing. So what I mean by keeping busy is making sure you're utilizing your capacity, your energy throughout the day, so that you no longer have that excess energy where you may want to do certain things that are not good for you during No Fap. So that's my first tip, essentially just keeping yourself busy through work or gym or other hobbies or activities of interest, making sure you're able to utilize your energy throughout the day, so that by the end of the day you don't have this excess energy where you want to use it. So essentially use the energy, keep yourself busy, so that by the end you just essentially fall asleep essentially, and you complete one day No Fap and you repeat again the next day. It's also useful for keeping yourself busy because you find yourself doing way more during the day. So it's not about just utilizing energy, you're actually expanding your horizons in terms of the activities that you do. So you may find you're doing exercise or more exercise, or finding you're picking up more hobbies, activities than you did in the past, just because you're keeping on the strategy of essentially keeping yourself busy for No Fap essentially. So that is my tip number 1. Tip number 2 is making sure you stay in public spaces throughout your No Fap journey, or if you really want to create a strict rule for during your No Fap challenge, is to stay in public spaces. And certainly you can do this just for November, but constantly being in public spaces. By being in public spaces, you're kind of removing that temptation to look at adult content, for example, because you can't exactly do that in a public space. Whereas in a private space, in a bedroom, at home, for example, you're on your own, you're kind of increasing that risk of looking at adult content or you're increasing that risk of just letting your urges run free, for example. So that's another tip. So just constantly be in public spaces. In my experience, this is kind of related to keeping myself busy, but essentially I kept myself in public spaces by essentially just going on for runs in the morning, getting outdoors, going outside. Once I completed my run in the morning, I would go to the office where I would be in a co-working space, other colleagues, other co-workers, and there'd essentially be lots of people there. So you're no longer thinking about watching adult content or releasing, and you're also having fun because you're kind of being social, you're around other people, you're mixing in with the community, so it's kind of really healthy for you mentally as well. So that's another added benefit. So just being in public spaces, being social, being out and about, essentially, it kind of makes you happy in a way. So once I do my run in the morning, I go to the working office, be in a public space. So in the evening, I would finish work at around 5 or 6. Then afterwards, essentially, I would stay out again. So I would maybe do some other hobbies, activities. In my case, it was maybe salsa or running or jiu-jitsu. It was something that would keep me busy, keep me out in a public space with lots of people about. So essentially I wouldn't be left to my own devices, essentially in my room, at home, etc. So in the mornings, get up, go for a walk, go for a run, etc. After you do this, then go to work, maybe cycle to work. In an office where there's lots of co-workers, colleagues, keep yourself in a public space where there's lots of people. You can't do some dodgy stuff. And once you finish work, make sure you pick up some interest, hobbies, just keep yourself outside, and by the time you've done all that and you get back home, it's probably about 10 or 11, and in my case I was so exhausted, so I would just basically collapse and just fall asleep, and I'd start again, and next morning, and I'd be really happy with myself from the previous day, knowing that I had a really energetic, fun, eventful day. I didn't really release, and I was really proud of myself by the morning, because I knew that yesterday I maximized my potential. I did as much as I could during that time, and it really fulfilled me during that time, knowing that I woke up in the morning and I was essentially doing stuff till 10, so that was really fulfilling to me as well. So tip number 3 is to be social as well. So in my experience doing No Fap, it's really important to be social. This is kind of related to being in public spaces, but being social and not isolating yourself in your room or your home is really important, because as soon as you isolate yourself and your kind of room, you remove that system of not doing No Fap. You're kind of letting your mind dictate your actions. So if you're at home, it's really easy to act on your urges, or to just essentially scroll through your phone, and next minute you kind of release. So obviously that's not good being in a private space. So it's really important to make sure you're social, not isolating yourself, and by being social, you're able to meet new people. You're at the same time being in public space, but you're also meeting new people, you're having fun, you're meeting interesting people, having interesting conversations. And so not only does that not isolate yourself, but you're also creating these endorphins or dopamine by generating genuine connections and genuine happiness among people. So that's really important, to be social, keep your mind active, and keep your mind talking to interesting people, meeting new people, rather than just isolating yourself in the home. By also being social, you're creating new connections, and by creating new friends or connections, you'll probably get invited to these events or go on these social activities with these new friends or people, and essentially in a sense you're kind of avoiding the home. Basically, you're kind of constantly putting yourself in public spaces when you get invited to these new events, social activities, etc. So meeting new people not only enables you to generate meaningful connections and conversations, but it's also a way for you to kind of get out of the house and be in social places, be in public spaces, and not isolate yourself in your home as well. So that's tip number 3. So hopefully you found that interesting, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe.